experienced issues. You'd indicated the Illinois Pollution Control Board was in charge of that. So I did call them. I talked to 2 different attorneys at their office. There are current open cases that you can access on their website in relation to turbine noise. The process is what I was more interested in, finding out what do we do if we have an issue. They said the best recourse is to go through your county if they have anything available. I said, well, I understand our county has not established anything. What do we do then? They directed me, there's 2 things available on the website for pollution situations. Now they take care of all the pollution in Illinois, not just noise. One of them is basically an unofficial report where you ask the board to send someone out to investigate pollution. They do not do that for noise. They do not do any investigation on noise pollution themselves. So you have to go to an official report, and feel free to call them to verify this. I called them twice to make sure I had it right because I didn't want one person to tell you one thing and it not be correct. So I encourage you to call them too. I've got the 12-page application that you have to fill out that I've got copies of for you. That's the first step. There's a 12-page application. You have to legally serve that to the party that you're accusing, which would be Relights Corporation. You have to figure out a way to legally serve that document to them. There's a 30-day wait period. During that 30-day wait period, the person accused or the company accused would have the opportunity to answer the allegation. The board would look at that answer, see if they would continue. If they decide to continue, there's another 30-day waiting period in which they will set a trial date. If they agree to the terms and they agree that the evidence that you have shown on the application portion is adequate, then they will agree to hear your case. 30 days later, at least 30 days later, then will be a hearing date. So 90-day wait period is the minimum. That's what I was told. So after 90 days, you go before the board. They said you have to prove that there was noise violation. We don't do any investigation on our own. There's no obligation really on the accused side. It's all on the accusers or the persons filing the petition to prove that. After you go through that process, I asked, how do you prove that they're out of compliance on noise? He said, well, there's ways to do it. You can, one way would be to go out and hire an engineer that studies noise and have them come in and take readings. If you go through that process and they agree that there has been a violation, they said they will then take steps they feel are appropriate to mitigate the circumstance. The first person I talked to, the first attorney, said, if you don't hire an attorney to do this, you're probably not going to get anywhere. She said that's just our feeling. It's not required, no, but she shared that information with me. So it's a very long, drawn-out process. I have spoke to one person who is in the process of doing that in Vermilion County. That lives in that area. Those were commissioned, I believe, in 2012. And he's experienced negative effects of the noise in his area. He has actually moved from his home and currently lives in another location. And he stated that the engineering fees and the attorney's fees he has, then they're almost ready to submit. And he said it'll be a total of $50,000 is what it'll cost him to approach this. And he said his attorney recommended that if we don't get it right the first time, you likely won't get another opportunity to go before that board. They usually only hear cases once. So and as I said, feel free to call them because that's kind of the information I gathered. I called them a couple times.
But to your knowledge, there have been no cases that have been resolved. I mean, there might be a few out there, but
I've not reviewed that. I've not reviewed that. When I talked to the attorney yesterday, they said there's several cases pending that are reviewable on their website.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I had some other stuff. Would you like me to share it now, or?
Go right ahead.
May I just comment on that? The Vermilion County issue that Corey just brought up is analyzed. It's the California Ridge wind farm. That is a study that was completed. A copy's been provided to the board. It was done by Mr. Schomer, Dr. Schomer. It was completed in March of 2014. It was in response to 2 specific residents complaining about noise emissions from turbines that were in the vicinity of their homes, and that's the results that I actually read to you earlier. So this is the Vermilion. This was an analysis to see if they were in violation with the various octave band limits that the Illinois Pollution Control Board sets. And as I said to you, the studies concluded that there was no violation. So I don't know what other pending complaints are, but at least these 2 particular residences, and I'm not sure if it's the person you spoke to, but these 2 particular residents were studied.
Yes, I've not reviewed the cases. The one case that I spoke with, they had not submitted theirs yet to the Pollution Control Board. They were basically said they needed to make sure they got their ducks in a row where they thought they had sufficient evidence, and that took time to get readings and do that. The other point I wanted to make regarding the size of these turbines, it's been known that they are taller than the ones at the rail splitter farm by over 100 feet. That's pretty common to know. I don't think anybody has really addressed the power output difference. The rail splitter turbines, and to this point in Illinois, all the wind turbines in the state of Illinois up to this point have not exceeded 2 megawatts. These would be 2.85 megawatts. These would be by far the biggest, most powerful turbines ever commissioned in the state of Illinois. And the other difference here between the project that has taken place in Northern Logan County previously that I wanted to point out was when that project occurred, because of the early stages in the wind industry in Illinois, there wasn't a lot of information out there. We have presented several people have gathered information. There is a lot more information out there on which to base the decision on whether or not to bring in wind. But I think the ordinance that we had in place, that we put in place then, is something to take a look at. I'm not arguing that the ordinance be changed at this point. I know that Relight applied under the current ordinances, and we have to review them according to those. But I did include a copy of the model ordinance regulating the siting wind energy in Illinois. This ordinance was written by the Chicago Legal Clinic in 2003, before any wind turbines had been built in the state of Illinois. We now have 17 active wind facilities, commercial industrial wind turbine facilities in the state of Illinois. In 2003, this model ordinance was written, and there's a cover page, and I've included a packet that includes this ordinance. It says right on the cover page of this ordinance, the ordinance seeks to encourage further wind energy development in Illinois. Goes on to say this model ordinance was funded by a grant from the Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation. I didn't know who that was. Sounds like a good organization. So I looked them up. I included the document from their website that tells who they are. They are the Charitable Foundation for Commonwealth Edison. They funded the writing of our ordinance that we now use. Another interesting point on the kind of executive summary or cover page of this ordinance says it was drafted after consultation with a wide group of stakeholders, including wind energy developers, technical consultants, environmental non-for-profits, government, and third-party certifying agencies and private environmental attorneys. Doesn't say anything about really anything to do with health administrators, local authorities. It's the stakeholders. And by stakeholders, they're referring to the financial stakeholders that would stand to profit. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing about the fact that it was written in 2003, that's the same year that the first wind farm was commissioned in Illinois. The Lee County facility, the turbines there were 212 feet tall and 0.8 megawatts. So the ones that we have proposed here reach 500 feet and are 3.5 times more powerful than the towers that were first commissioned when this ordinance was originally written. The ordinance has not changed. You can review this. I didn't include a copy of the county ordinance because I know you all have access to it, but I'd encourage you to look at this and compare it side by side with our county ordinance. It's the same ordinance. 1,000-foot setbacks from the home, 1.1 times the height of the turbine from the lot lines. This ordinance is ancient in the wind industry. It was made before we even had wind turbines in Illinois. It was disseminated to counties, it trickled down, and almost every county has adopted it. And now every county that has built wind turbines is reviewing it because they're finding out that larger wind turbines, the more modern wind turbines, the giant wind turbines, are not really applicable to this outdated ordinance. So I've included that in your packet. I thought that was interesting to kind of look back and see where our ordinance stemmed from originally, and who it was written by originally, and when it was written originally. Again, 3.5 times the power, megawatt generating power, than we had then. I think that's something to consider. And then a final note here. Let's see. I would just encourage you to look at the information that has changed since the last project was undertaken. Look at the differences. Really consider if we want to take on the largest, most powerful wind turbines in Illinois. It's interesting that the Brown County episode has 2.5 megawatt generating turbines. That's bigger than anything we have in Illinois too. So if it's just coming out that these larger turbines are just getting installed and they're the ones causing health problems, we might not see in Illinois because we've never had them, but they want to put them here. Thank you.